Good morning, YouTube. I am Longster 1970, and I thought I'd give a little update as to what's been going on while taking a ride into work on the 07 Vstar 1300 Tourer. I've been doing some work on the truck recently. Well, it's been a kind of a long-term project, and I think I've got most of that wrapped up. I'll be putting out a video on some of the repairs that I've done to it. And I sold the 1987 XLR 600 and I sold the 1985 Honda Shadow VT 700. I still have the 1983 Shadow VT 750 that I need to put a starter clutch in. And I have the 84 VT 500 that I thought I had sold last weekend. I did step back a little bit. Friday night I did some work on the truck. I put new rotors on the rear, new brake pads, and I decided I was going to take it up to Carlisle the next morning, pick up some stuff that my wife had purchased in an antique store. So got in the truck Saturday morning, and later on I was supposed to meet up with someone to sell my 500 Shadow, the 84 500 Shadow. And I'm on my way to Carlisle in the morning, and I get up over the hill coming down into Mount Holly Springs, and it's a pretty steep hill, so I'm hitting the brakes, and then I noticed that the pedal starts to get pretty hard on me, and I could feel that whenever I left off the brakes it was still dragging. So I'm thinking to myself, this isn't good. So I come up to a stoplight in Mount Holly Springs, and I noticed that the right rear wheel well has a lot of smoke coming up off of it. So that's a good indication I've got a brake hanging up, or brake dragging. So I pulled into the Dollar General parking lot, and I asked them, I went inside and asked them if they had any fire extinguishers. I guess sold any fire extinguishers just in case something would happen. It could potentially catch on fire. And I had a problem. The sun's up. I had a problem with the right rear axle seal leaking. So I looked at that. That wasn't the problem. It's definitely the brakes. I decided to keep going. It's like, well, I'll see if I can go a little bit further. Maybe I can find a place that actually sells a fire extinguisher. And I got up towards the other end of town, and the smoke, it was just getting worse. It was brake. I could feel it dragging just trying to accelerate. So I decided to turn around and come back, really debating if I wanted to have the truck towed home or not. And I parked at a garage, and the garage was closed, of course. On a Saturday. And this was before noon even. This was in the morning, because the antique place opened at 10. I wanted to be there whenever it opened, so I could get everything else done. And this garage is closed. Next door is another Dollar General, so I decided to go over there. Maybe I can get a pair of vice grips, something I can squeeze the brake line off with, which of course I didn't bring any tools with me. I go into the Dollar General, check to see if they have any tools. Very limited supply, no vice grips. Nothing I can use to squeeze off the brake line so it stops hanging up on me. is trying to cut the flow of brake fluid to the caliper. I get to talking to the cashier, and I told her how my brake line was, or how my rear brake was hanging up on me, and she said she knows, she has a friend that does roadside assistance. So, okay, I don't know what kind of roadside assistance, maybe tractor trailers, I don't know, maybe automotive. Anyways, I go back to the garage, and I'm waiting for this guy to show up. In the meantime, a couple pulls in with a flat tire in their car, and passenger gets out, and he's really thin looking. I don't know if he's sick or what, but I'm like, I'm waiting on somebody so I can give you a hand changing your tire. And the woman that was driving, she was like, oh, I really appreciate it, you shouldn't be doing anything. So, okay, so we get the jack out, and I jack the tire up. I jack the car up. While I'm jacking up, he's loosening up the lug nuts. Gets the lug nuts all loose. Get the car jacked up. Get the tire off. Put their spare on. Drop it back down. Put everything back in the trunk for them, and they take off. In the meantime, this other guy shows up with the roadside assistance guy, and it's like, what's wrong with your truck? I said, well, the right rear brake caliper is hanging up. Are you sure? I'm pretty sure. So he starts checking the left tire, and, oh, that's pretty hot. I was like, well, that's not the one I've been having a problem with. So he goes over and checks the other one. Oh yeah, it's really hot. I think you have a wheel bearing, or an axle bearing is bad. And I was like, no, it's not an axle bearing. I'm pretty sure the brake caliper is hanging up on me. Maybe got air in the line. Maybe we can bleed that out. Follow me back to my place, and I got some brake fluid over there. So I'm like, oh, why not? I'm like, I really don't want to drive this any further. So I follow him back to his place. It's a couple miles away, and we pull into this driveway. It's already got like 6 cars sitting in it, and he goes into the garage, and the boy goes, I'm gonna go get the brake fluid. He goes into the garage. This place, it looked okay. He comes back out after a while. It's like, I can't find the brake fluid. It's like, oh, that's not good. And in the meantime, I'm texting this guy that is going to be buying the 500 off of me. And I said, hey man, I know we're supposed to meet up by 11:45, but I'm not going to make it back by then. And he texted me back and said, where are you? So I'm in Mount Holly Springs. He said, well, I'm only a couple miles away. Why don't you stop over and see if we can do something with your truck? So I said, no. Texted him back, okay, send me directions to your place. So I tell this other guy that I got to take off, and we get to talking a little bit. He's like, hey, I have a bus out back, you know, anybody might be interested in buying one. I'll take a look at it. So anyway, it's like a transit. It's a short transit bus, pretty much. Decent looking inside and everything. I was like, oh, well, if I know anybody that's looking for one, I'll let you know. So I leave there, and I meet up with this other guy. He's only a couple miles down the road. He was right off Route 34. I get down there, pull into his place. His dad shows me his Camaro, which is really nice. Needs some work, but he's doing a good job on it. And he had bought a Harley from somebody. He showed me that, and then he said, what's wrong with your truck? And I said, I think the right rear caliper is hanging up on me. So I said, well, I have a pair of line clamps. Maybe I can put them on there and squeeze it off, and then you'll be able to get home. I said, sure, that sounds great. So went and did that, squeezed the line off, I drove it back home, made it home without any issues. Definitely was driving a little bit stranger whenever I hit the brakes, because I was only using 3 brakes instead of 4, but it was a rear one. Still, made it home, and once I get home, I tell the guys interested in the 500, and I say, I'm home. He said, okay, we have to stop and get a trailer, and we'll be over. I said, okay. So we needed to be at the place to get the title transferred by 2, and it was about 1, so we weren't too bad far off. And he texted me back after a while and he said, hey, can you meet us up there? I said, well, tried to. I wasn't really home yet. Well, I guess I was home by then. And I hopped on the bike. There's a deer. 2 of them. 3 of them. More? He texted me, he said, hey, I'm running into some problems, I'm not going to be able to make it. I was like, texting him back, what's going on? He said, we have problems with the axle in the trailer. So, okay. So, that was about it for Saturday. We had a little get together, and Saturday, after I got home, I took the rear calipers off, and I found out that there's 2 different calipers that they make for an 01 F-150. There's either the ones with the steel pucks in them or the steel pistons, and they make a set with what they call phenolic, which is plastic basically. It has a steel top on it and it's plastic under, the rest of it's plastic. So they didn't have any in stock, but they said they could have them next day. It's like, well, okay, that's nice. So then I needed to find out what they were, if they were steel or phenolic. So I get my slide hammer out, my bearing puller, pull the piston out, and I found out that they were phenolic. So I had a set ordered, and they told me that they would be in. Ordered them from Advanced Auto. They said they'd be in the next morning. I got up in the morning, whenever they opened, and they had them. Got some brake fluid. Went back home. Got a new set of brake pads because I toasted one of the sets of brake, or the right rear brake pads were toasted. The ceramic pads that went from black to white, which ceramic obviously is white, I guess, but it didn't look good. I was like, it might be too brittle. The rotor was questionable, but I decided to reuse it. Sunday morning I get up and I go and pick up the stuff, come back. The plan was to try to get everything done by 11. I got back to the truck, got the new brake calipers put on, the new brake pads, and bled the lines out, pushed all that old fluid out through there, and the wife and I decided that we were gonna go over. I was planning on going for a ride up to Appalachian Harley-Davidson up in Mechanicsburg, but I didn't know if I was gonna make that. So we head over to Carlisle, made it without any issues, picked up the antique table and chairs, loaded them up in a truck, went over to the Gingerbread Man, which was nearby, stopped in there, got lunch, that was good, came back, unloaded everything. We had another get together that we were doing that night, so got ready for that, and I think that was about it. Oh, we didn't get back home till like 3:30, and we're having people over around 4 or so, I think. about it. That was the weekend. The only thing I have to do yet on the truck is, well, there's a couple things I want to do. I want to install that oil temperature sensor. I've been trying to do that for years and I just never got around to it. And I have a set of short tube ceramic coated headers that I want to put on. And there is a stud that is busted off in the block that I tried to get out once before and I just couldn't get it out. I think I'm going to try taking that out again. See if I can weld a washer onto it and weld a nut over top of the washer. Maybe that'll work. We're supposed to be going out four-wheeling this weekend. So we'll be doing that Saturday. And maybe try working on the truck Saturday morning. I don't think I have anything else I'm going to need it for. Finish it up on Sunday, I hope. We got to get the camper ready. So I need to get that in for inspection. What else do I have to work on? Oh, I have a clutch cable for this, for the 1300. And I have a different clutch lever to install on it. I have the pressure washer that I blew the bottom seal out somehow. I'm not sure how that happened, but I have a replacement seal for it. I got to put that in. Maybe I'll do that tonight. I'm not sure. I'm working on some other projects around the house. And I think that might be it. Just wanted to let you know about my adventures last weekend. I did get out earlier this week, or no, that was last week. I went for a bike ride to the eye doctor. Had an eye doctor's appointment. I put about 200 miles on that day on the bike. Rode from York up to Newport, from Newport up to Millerstown. I have some kennel cameras up there, the Bark of the Town kennels that I service the cameras for. That's the only set of cameras that I've ever put on that large of a scale. It's from back whenever I had my computer shop in town, my computer store, technology store, whatever you want to call it. That was, oh man, those cameras have been in 15 years, something like that. Of course, there have been upgrades along the way. I started out with just having the switches mounted to the wall. Eventually upgraded to a enclosure. Makes it look a lot nicer, easier to manage. And I was running separate PoEs to every camera, and then I finally upgraded to a PoE switch so that would just provide the power to all the cameras. That was a place out of Texas, I think. I forget the name of it. If I remember, I'll put it in the description. I get emails from them every so often, every once in a while. But I had to go up there because they were able to see the cameras on the local network, but you weren't able to view them from the internet. So it was just a configuration in the router that I had to fix. But I had been at the eye doctor and I had my eyes dilated, so it was tough looking at the computer screen, trying to make changes to the router, but I was able to see it enough that I was able to get the configuration done, and then once I got that done, then everything connected back online. They have a problem up there with thunderstorms. Thunderstorms come through, and that place has been hit so many times. It's knocked out switches, it's knocked out numerous Comcast modems, routers, cameras. It's blown a number of them up at one time, and I was fortunate. Well, it seems like the switch, one port will get blown out by lightning. I have a couple extra ones. I think I have 16 cameras and a 24 port switch, so I can swap them out. If a port blows out in the switch, I can use another port until obviously I don't have enough for all the cameras. But anyways, I installed another switch up there, and they had a storm the following weekend, and it blew out one of the ports on the replacement switch, so I had to switch that cable over to a known good port, and everything's been running pretty good so far. Someone come by the other night selling us Anderson windows, replacement windows, so I'll have to be around to make sure that they can get in on Monday. And at the end of the month, I'm supposed to be having someone come in, and well, someone is coming in to epoxy the floor in the garage. So I'll probably be posting a before and after video of that. I've got to get everything out of everything on the floor has got to come out by the end of this month. So that's one of the reasons why I'm selling some of my bikes, and I want to get the iRock out so I can work on that. And I was like, I'm hoping all I have to do is pull the fuel tank out and put a new fuel pump in it, but that's going to be a day project. Smooth ride in this morning so far, except for the deer. See all these solar panels. I've been told that the government's been coming in, and I don't know if it's local, state, or federal. They are leasing these farmlands. I'm not sure how much they're paying the owners, but it's supposed to be like a 25-year lease or something. I don't know if anybody knows any details on that. But all through here, solar panels, and up here on the right, should be able to see some, maybe not here. Right there's some, and then over there's some. See all those solar panels? There's some over here. So I don't know how many acres that is, but that's quite a good number of solar panels. We're coming into York. I think that'll just about do it for me this morning. Bringing you up to everything that's been going on. Hope you enjoyed the ride. And have a good day, good night. And I will see you on the next video. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and stay safe.